Hey y'all, welcome to Back Porch Cooking and Reminiscing. We're the Morgans. We sure are glad y'all stopped by today. Before we get into all the recipes and the cooking and the storytelling, I want to give y'all a little background on how we got to where we are today. So it all started about 10 years ago. I'd always wanted to have a food truck, but we just really didn't have the money to build one. But eventually, we were able to save enough money up to be able to buy a truck and get the ball rolling on getting the food truck going. So we at the time we didn't have any clue as to what we were going to cook or what we were going to name the truck or anything. So after a little while, we had decided that we were going to do barbecue and burgers. And so that was a plan for what we were cooking. Still didn't have a name though. So put on Facebook one night that if anybody could come up with a good name for our food truck, that we'd give them a free meal once we got it up and going. Now I was a 911 dispatcher at the time, so I had several friends that were in the police forces and EMS and fire departments and all that. So I was getting a lot of messages back from everybody. And one in particular, I opened it up and I see it says you should name your truck Up in Smoke Barbecue and Burgers. I said that's it right there. No use in looking any further. So here's a little picture of what our truck looked like. So once we got our truck built, got a wrap put on it, we were ready to get out and hit the road and start selling some barbecue and burgers. So we'd go out on the weekends and set up on the side of the road and sell our barbecue and burgers. And I have to say we put out some pretty good food because we stayed fairly busy with it, especially around lunchtime and around dinner time. But the biggest thing about that was that inside that truck it got to be about 110 degrees sitting in even in the shade. It was that hot. And it was just me and my son, and he flipped burgers on the grill, and I worked the window and made barbecue sandwiches. We did that for about a year and a half, and served some good food and met a lot of people and got to know a lot of people. But we always kind of thought we needed to open up a building, an inside building, where people could sit down and eat a meal and not have to just walk up to a window and get it and take it home. So after about that year and a half, that's what we decided to do. After looking for just a little while, we found us a little small building, and we talked to the owner and convinced him that we'd be a good risk to rent his building. And so we moved in. Now, this place was small. We only had like 5 tables in the whole place. The kitchen area was almost as big as the dining area. But, we started out there and got pretty busy actually. After about 4 months, we had pretty much outgrown that space. We had that many customers, but we had a year's lease, so we couldn't leave and go anywhere. So we stayed there, and again, we carried the name Up in Smoke Barbecue over to that. And here's you a picture of the front of our little building that we first started in. By this time, my wife had come on to help us in the kitchen, and we'd even hired a server to help us out front because we were just so busy that the three of us couldn't handle everything, and I was doing all the work out in the front. I was answering the phone calls, taking the orders, busting the tables, carrying the food. So we eventually had to get us a server to go along with that. But after a year in that little location, we decided it was time to expand and move up a little bit more. So we found a building that was an old Dairy Queen building. It was actually just right across the street from where our first place was at. Had more seating. We could seat about 50 people in that building. Had a better kitchen than what we had in the first building. And so we moved in there, and that's when we started expanding the menu. And we went from just doing barbecue and burgers to doing catfish and fried chicken tenders and salads and desserts, and did a whole lot more other items as well. But one of our big hits was we did a Sunday dinner, and that was a meat and two with dessert. And we were covered up on Sundays. We'd have people sitting in the parking lot waiting on us to open the doors on Sundays. Pretty much was that way every day, but and it was every day the phone just rang off the hook. People coming in to place orders and to eat in, and it was just a wild and crazy thing going on there. But we loved it. We really enjoyed being there. As a matter of fact, we stayed there for 6 years. And we even put in a little gift shop area where that people could buy gifts, and we carried jams and jellies and uh, chow chows and other pickled products, and a lot of gift items that you could buy and give as a birthday gift, an anniversary gift, or Christmas gift, just anything. And like I say, we loved that little place. But as with everything else, the time came that we had to look for something else. Because of having a landlord who just didn't want to fix anything that needed to be repaired, but wanted to still continue going up on the rent year after year after year, we finally decided it was time to start looking for a new location. And we eventually found that location uh, by one of our sales representatives with Cisco. He came in and told me that he had a customer down in Cowan, Tennessee, that had a restaurant and was looking for something to do and wanted to get out of it. So he gave me her phone number and told me to call her. And I did some research on the building and saw what they were asking for it, and just really didn't figure that it'd be anything we could ever do. But eventually, I gave her a call and talked with her on the phone. Actually, wound up spending about 2 hours on the phone with her, first time I ever talked to her. And we went and met with her the next day and talked about it, looked at the building, and she told me to make her an offer. So I made her an offer to lease the building. Um, and she looked me dead in the eye and she says, "Deal." So within 2 days, we had made a deal on a new building. And within about 2 weeks, we were actually signing contracts on it. So we moved in that building in October, and we took over the existing name, which was Boots and Brew. But we added to that Up in Smoke barbecue slash boots and brew on all of our advertising and all of our Facebook and Google page and all that. Because we wanted the folks that we had that was doing business with us previously who knew us as Up in Smoke, we wanted them to continue to be able to find us and figure out, you know, where we had gone since we had left Monteagle, and thought that was probably the best way to do that. So that's what we did. So we became known as Up in Smoke Barbecue slash Boots and Brew. Now, this location had a whole lot more going on than we had ever had going on before. It actually had a full bar, and we moved in and started doing a restaurant with a bar. At the time when we moved in, they had pool tables, and believe it or not, they had axe throwing. So in my mind, axe throwing and alcohol just didn't mix. So that was the first thing we took out, was the axe throwing. We also took pool tables out so we could create a second dining area, and we called that our family dining. A lot of times we'd have families coming in that they'd rather sit back there in the back and kind of be away from the bar, and so we fixed that up for them. We also took the axe throwing area and made a arcade out of that, and the kids loved coming in and play the video games. We had a couple of claw machines, and like I say, kids loved it, and parents loved it because it kind of got the kids out of their hair for a few minutes while they were enjoying themselves. And believe it or not, we even had a mechanical bull. Not too many people rode the mechanical bull, but we did have a few. And we even had one young lady that she was actually able to ride it all the way to 100, which was the highest speed setting on the bull. Um, she didn't stay on it for long after we hit the 100, but she was able to make it to the 100. So that gets us up to now. And now, after 10 years in the food business, restaurant business, we've decided that it's time for us to slow down, take a step back, and do something a little different. Therefore, we have decided that we're going to retire from the business. And we're going to start this YouTube channel. And I hope y'all will enjoy it. And, we're going to be sharing some cooking tips and sharing some of our recipes from the restaurant and our home recipes and even some family recipes. And we're gonna tell you how to make a lot of the things we made in the restaurant, like our barbecue sauce, potato salad, coleslaw. Um, we'll have recipes for our rubs and some other things that we do in the restaurant. And eventually, we're even going to start selling some of our rubs and our breadings and our seasonings that we use. So I hope y'all will come visit with us from time to time, and remember to hit that like and subscribe button so you'll be able to keep up with the new videos that we post. Because we're going to try to post at least a couple of weeks. It may take us a little while to get there to that point. We're still running the business as of right now, but we will be getting completely out of it in September. Along with cooking, we're going to be reminiscing about the good times that we've had, and going to be interviewing some of the locals that are well-known storytellers. So no telling what we're going to get from them. I know a lot of them personally, and they're always able to come up with some story. So if you like good food, great stories, again, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. That way you can keep coming back from time to time. And also, please drop a comment of anything you'd like to see us cook or anything that you're wanting to know about how to make something. Just shoot us a comment and we'll try our best to answer all of them for you. We're excited to share this journey with you, and just want to say thanks for being here on the back porch with us. Let's get to cooking and reminiscing.